You lost good. Wow.
How'd you get here?
You've probably had this experience. You're reading a page out of a book or magazine. You suddenly realize you have no idea what you just read. Your eyes move across words. You technically read them, but you weren't there. Your mind was elsewhere. Notice what happened when you realized this, though. You're aware of your own mental state. You noticed you weren't noticing. You perceived your own perceiving. Rather, your failure to perceive. But still, that is apperception. The philosopher Immanuel Kant, he defined apperception as the mind's awareness of its own activity. That's not just perceiving a thing. It's knowing you are perceiving it, perceiving the perception, right? Not just thinking, being aware you are thinking. It's the I think that can accompany your experiences, the self-reflexive awareness that rides alongside consciousness. Here's the crucial thing. Most of the time, apperception doesn't need to happen. When you're driving a familiar route, lost in thought, not aware of steering, braking, or any of those other things, the driving happens without the I think attached. Later, you may not remember the drive at all, not because you were unconscious, but because there's no apperceptive layer recording, I am now doing this. When you have a fluent conversation, your native tongue, you're not typically aware of your own speech. You're not monitoring every word as you produce it for accuracy or tone or accent. You don't apperceive your own talking usually. Words come, the conversation happens, but there's not a meta-level observer noting, oh yes, I am now saying this. And this is totally normal. This is how things work when they're working. Apperception is a layer on top of this basic mental activity. Usually that layer stays thin or even absent. But sometimes apperception, it's got to kick in. When you're learning to drive, you have to be aware of what you're doing. You're consciously attending to your mirrors, turning the turn signal the correct direction, the gas pedal or the brake or the clutch. Each action requires a lot out of I think, because you don't have automatic competence yet. You are apperceiving continuously. And apperceiving is fucking exhausting. When you're speaking a foreign language poorly, like I do, you monitor your own speech constantly, or your chat does it for you. Am I conjugating this verb right? Did I use the right gendered ending? That word didn't sound right. I wonder if I said it correctly. The apperceptive layer is thick, it is heavy, and it demands constant energy. When you're reading a difficult book, dense philosophical, technical material, maybe even in a language you barely know, you have to maintain conscious awareness at every stage. Wait, what did he just say? What's the subject of this clause? What does that word mean again? Normal reading happens without this. Difficult reading forces continuous apperception, and this creates a very particular type of difficulty. It's not that the task is intrinsically hard in an absolute sense. It's that you're doing two things at once. You're doing the task itself, and you're monitoring the task. You're reading and watching yourself read, driving, observing yourself drive, speaking, and auditing your own speech. This double operation is cognitively expensive. It's tiring in a really unique way, not like physical exertion, but the tiredness of self-sustained self-awareness. Try walking on a balance beam. If you're a skilled gymnast, you will walk across it without thinking. If you're someone like me, every step requires an extraordinary amount of conscious attention. You have to apperceive balance continuously. Oh, it's tilting, and I can't even really tell that. How do I shift my weight? Where's my center? Oh no, why did I fall over? Oh my God, I broke my arm. The constant self-monitoring makes that so draining. Now imagine, while you're doing that, someone yelling at you, relax, don't think about it too much. It's advice that is useless. Maybe worse than useless, actually. The whole problem of this is You can't not think about it. You don't have automatic competence that would allow the task to proceed without apperception. Telling someone to relax is like telling someone drowning to just breathe. That's why apperception matters beyond philosophical theory. It helps us understand what difficulty itself is, because not all difficulty is the same. Some difficulty is about the intrinsic complexity of the task. Maybe there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of really elaborate steps demanding physical or mental output of extraordinary levels. But some difficulty is about this forced maintenance of apperception, having to consciously monitor what should flow unconsciously. The first kind of difficulty might be addressed by better tools, someone helping you, reducing complexity here or there. The second kind requires something different. It requires that you build automatic competence that allows apperception to recede. Consider how we talk to struggling students. We talk about it as though they need to pay more attention. They need to focus harder. They just need to try. They're just not trying. This advice implicitly assumes the student isn't apperceiving enough. Often, almost always, the opposite is true. They're forced to apperceive constantly, to consciously monitor every element of a task that, especially for various ages, should probably be pretty automatic by now. And the solution to this isn't more apperception. That makes it worse. It's building competence that would make apperception unnecessary. The phenomenologist Edmund Husserl, he developed this apperception in a different direction. He analyzed how our experience comes pre-structured. We're not really building up from raw sensations, but instead we receive them already organized into a meaningful whole. Apperception for Husserl included all the ways experience arrives already interpreted, shaped by your habits, your expectations, context. When you enter a room, you see it as a room. It's got walls, a floor, a ceiling, furniture, all that shit. You don't consciously construct this interpretation from raw visual data. Roomness is there. It's part of perception. That pre-interpretive organization is apperception in for Husserl's sense. Now all of this operates below conscious awareness. When that organization fails or is disruptive, you have to consciously do what would normally happen automatically. The room is a confusion of surfaces and shapes. You have to deliberately interpret what you see. If you've ever had vertigo, you know this feeling. The same applies to reading, language, social navigation, Dota 2, any kind of skilled performance of any kind at all. When the automatic pre-interpretation works, things make sense immediately without effort. When it fails, you have to consciously assemble meaning. You have to apperceive every step of a process that should run silently. And that's the thing. Apperception is exhausting, partly because it takes up cognitive bandwidth that would otherwise be available for infinite other things. When you drive automatically, your mind is free to think about all the stuff around you, listening to a podcast, having a conversation, checking all the things around you, being situationally aware, hopefully, and not texting, for God's sake. But when you drive apperceptively, all your attention goes to driving itself. Similarly, when you read automatically, your mind can engage with meaning, thinking about implications, forming questions, making connections that may not be immediately available in the text itself. When you read apperceptively, when you have to consciously decode each word, all your attention goes to the mechanical process of reading. There's no bandwidth left for thinking about what you just read. And this is why forcing apperception is not just exhausting, but it's also limiting. The person stuck at the level of conscious monitoring just can't do what someone who has automatic competence can. They're not doing the same activity slowly or faster. It's fundamentally different, one that by its nature precludes what the other activity enables.
I could run through these halls forever if you like. Be trapped in this mall together if you like. I'd love to explore the corners if you like. The music plays so loud, guiding me where I go. In this vibrant crowd, do you feel it too though? Maybe I'm just here